2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 1. That was the beginning of a long war between those who were loyal to Saul and those loyal to David. As time passed, David became stronger and stronger, while Saul's dynasty became weaker and weaker. Verse 2. These are the sons who were born to David in Hebron. The oldest was Ammon, whose mother was Ahinoam from Jezreel. Verse 3. The second was Daniel, whose mother was Abigail, the widow of Nabal from Carmel. The third was Absalom, whose mother was Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. Verse 4. The fourth was Adonijah, whose mother was Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah, whose mother was Abital. Verse 5. The sixth was Ithream, whose mother was Eglah, David's wife. These sons were born to David in Hebron. Verse 6. As the war between the house of Saul and the house of David went on, Abner became a powerful leader among those loyal to Saul. Verse 7. One day Ishbosheth, Saul's son, accused Abner of sleeping with one of his father's concubines, a woman named Rizpah, daughter of Ai. Verse 8. Abner was furious. Am I some Judean dog to be kicked around like this? He shouted, After all I have done for your father Saul and his family and friends by not handing you over to David, is this my reward? That you find fault with me about this woman. Verse 9. May God strike me and even kill me if I don't do everything I can to help David get what the Lord has promised him. Verse 10. I'm going to take Saul's kingdom and give it to David. I will establish the throne of David over Israel as well as Judah, all the way from Dan in the north to Beersheba in the south. Verse 11. Ishbosheth didn't dare say another word because he was afraid of what Abner might do. Verse 12. Then Abner sent messengers to David, saying, Doesn't the entire land belong to you? Make a solemn pact with me, and I will help turn over all Israel to you. Verse 13. All right, David replied, but I will not negotiate with you unless you bring back my wife Mahil, Saul's daughter, when you come. Verse 14. David then sent this message to Ishbosheth, Saul's son, Give me back my wife Mahil, for I bought her with the lives of 100 Philistines. Verse 15. So Ishbosheth took Mahil away from her husband, Palti, son of Lash. Verse 16. Palti followed along behind her as far as Boharim, weeping as he went. Then Abner told him, Go back home. So Palti returned. Verse 17. Meanwhile, Abner had consulted with the elders of Israel for some time now. He told them, You have wanted to make David your king. Verse 18. Now is the time, for the Lord has said, I have chosen David to save my people Israel from the hands of the Philistines and from all their other enemies. Verse 19. Abner also spoke with the men of Benjamin. Then he went to Hebron to tell David that all the people of Israel and Benjamin had agreed to support him. Verse 20. When Abner and 20 of his men came to Hebron, David entertained them with a great feast. Verse 21. Then Abner said to David, Let me go and call an assembly of all Israel to support my lord the king. They will make a covenant with you to make you their king, and you will rule over everything your heart desires. So David sent Abner safely on his way. Verse 22. But just after David had sent Abner away in safety, Joab and some of David's troops returned from a raid, bringing much plunder with them. Verse 23. When Joab arrived, he was told that Abner had just been there visiting the king and had been sent away safely. Verse 24. Joab rushed to the king and demanded, What have you done? What do you mean by letting Abner get away? Verse 25. You know perfectly well that he came to spy on you and find out everything you are doing. Verse 26. Joab then left David and sent messengers to catch up with Abner, asking him to return. They found him at the well of Sarai and brought him back, though David knew nothing about it. Verse 27. When Abner arrived back at Hebron, Joab took him aside at the gateway as if to speak with him privately, but then he stabbed Abner in the stomach and killed him in revenge for killing his brother Asahel. Verse 28. When David heard about it, he declared, I vow by the Lord that I and my kingdom are forever innocent of this crime against Abner, son of Ner. Verse 29. Joab and his family are the guilty ones. May the family of Joab be cursed in every generation with a man who has open sores or leprosy, or who walks on crutches, or dies by the sword, or begs for food. Verse 30. So Joab and his brother Abishai killed Abner because Abner had killed their brother Asahel at the battle of Gibeon. Verse 31. Then David said to Joab and all those who were with him, Tear your clothes and put on burlap, mourn for Abner. And King David himself walked behind the procession to the grave. Verse 32. They buried Abner in Hebron, and the king and all the people wept at his graveside. Verse 33. Then the king sang this funeral song for Abner. Should Abner have died as fools die? Verse 34. Your hands were not bound, your feet were not chained. No, you were murdered, the victim of a wicked plot. All the people wept again for Abner. Verse 35. David had refused to eat anything on the day of the funeral, and now everyone begged him to eat. But David had made a vow saying, May God strike me and even kill me if I eat anything before sundown. Verse 36. This pleased the people very much. In fact, everything the king did pleased them. Verse 37. So everyone in Judah and all Israel understood that David was not responsible for Abner's murder. Verse 38. Then King David said to his official, Don't you realize that a great commander has fallen today in Israel? Verse 39. And even though I am the anointed king, these two sons of Zeruiah, Joab and Abishai, are too strong for me to control. So may the Lord repay these evil men for their evil deeds. Amen.